Priscilla, you are a realtor in California. How badly have you been affected by the pandemic over there?
Interestingly, so at the beginning of the pandemic, everybody thought real estate would be one of the hardest hit, right? Because they're stuck at home. We don't know what was going on. But interestingly, here in the United States, at least here in California, last year was very, very good for real estate. It was insanely. A lot of realtors had their best year ever. A lot of lenders, mortgage brokers, they ended up upgrading. I know a few of them, like, they've got those fancy cars that they always dreamed of and everything, and it is, I think, mainly because most of the economy is not moving. Like, nobody's eating out, nobody's going on vacation, nobody's going to the movies. So the the federal government kept the interest, and is still keeping the interest rate as low as possible, because that's pretty much the only money that's moving in the economy at the moment. So, with regards to real estate, it's a really strong market at the moment, and even the past year, which was insane. It's crazy, but hey, I'm a realtor, so that's good news for me.
Yeah,
so if you've got money, buy, man. Jeez, right?
Well, this is, it's like kind of like, makes sense that they're saving up. How people save up to buy. They're sort of enforced savings, and they can buy.
This is the rainy day that
this
they've
is
been
the
saving
rainy
up
day,
for,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
This is the rainy, and it's not. And we found that it's not only that. Like, a lot of people, because maybe they're stuck at home more, suddenly they realize, oh, I need more space. I think I definitely need more space for the kids, for the husband.
Yeah.
So,
even the pets are going, get out of my space. Shouldn't you be going to work, right?
Yeah.
My dog was looking at me funny the first couple of weeks. And the first couple of weeks, they were happy. After that, it's like, do you never leave? Like, go already.
Where are you getting the money to feed me?
Yeah. How am I supposed to steal food if you're around? Yeah, okay.
Exactly. How am I supposed to get into the trash and like dig things up if you're still here all the time? So, yeah.
Oh dear. All right. So, other than Trump getting impeached, what's the situation in the US like with regards to the pandemic otherwise? Outside of the housing and
I mean,
scene?
it's a strange time. So it's interesting how at least over here, something like a global pandemic has been politicized. I mean, I'm not American. I'm very much Malaysian, so I get to watch it like an outsider almost.
Fly in the wall.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, even things like, whether to get the vaccine or not to get the vaccine, that's sort of a left and right type decision. Like, oh, if you're very conservative, it's almost like, yeah, I'm not going to get the vaccine. If you aren't, then you are. It's strange. It's interesting. It's strange. It's, even the protests, the BLM protests that happen, it was also very, left or right, which it's interesting. It's weird. It's strange. It
seems to be, actually sort of echoing around the world that a lot of important things are very Marmite. You either for it or against it. Well, Marmite's one of those things where you can't sort of be in the middle about it.
Yeah. No, everyone loves Marmite. Okay, anyway,
exactly. Okay, so talking about that, and the COVID vaccine, you recently actually got it, didn't you? So could you share your experience? Like, what was your decision making? What did it feel like to go and get it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There wasn't much of a decision making. I'm just sort of at the point where I'm just tired of all this and I just want things to be over. There's a lot of talk, I'm sure in Malaysia as well, like there's a lot of talk over here with regards to, oh, we don't know what's in the vaccine, but we've had the rubella jabs. We didn't know what was in that. And a lot of my doctor friends, the moment they gave, was available to them, they were scrambling to get it. And I figured, you know what? They understand science, they understand medicine. They're smarter than me 100%. So if they're scrambling to get it and I have the opportunity to, I'm going to get it.
Actually, on that, how did you get the opportunity to do it? Because was there some kind of plan? I thought it was all about the people who are most at risk, the elderly and stuff like that. How did you?
Shouldn't be so rude about her age like that.
Okay. No, so during the pandemic, I also started working at a dental clinic. Just because I just needed to get out. So over here in the States, It's just me. I am here by my lonesome. After 2 to 3 months of literally not being able to see anybody. So real estate is all about people. You go out, you talk to people, and that's, you build relationships, and you go, that's you build relationships. You don't
That's
really
the
sell
biz.
houses, After about 2-3 months of literally staring at my four walls and my dogs, I was on the verge of packing up and coming back to Malaysia, because when you sit by yourself, you spiral, you go down this rabbit hole. I'm an only child, my parents are over there by themselves. I start thinking things like, what if I get sick? What if my parents get sick? I'm going to be stuck here. Will I make it back in time? Will they let me get into the country? You start going down this rabbit hole of just gloom and doom. So a friend of mine basically suggested, before you pack your life and get on a plane and go back, how about you just go get a job, just any job where you get to see people at least a couple of times a day, or a couple of times a week rather. So that's what I did, and it did help. And obviously the only places that were hiring at the time were medical officers and grocery workers and stuff. So I got just like, a part-time-ish job at a dental office. Pretty much started as a receptionist, just to say hi to people, right? So, but from there, they had me start doing patient care and coordination and stuff. So I suppose, it worked out. So because I was doing that as well, I'm considered frontline. I'm considered essential. Okay. I'm essential. So then that's how I was given the opportunity for the vaccine. So I'm very fortunate, very grateful for that.
But did you have to go somewhere to get it, or did they come to you?
No, we have to go. So even with that, basically a link was sent by the management, where the healthcare workers are basically tiered. So depending what tier you are on, vaccinations are opened up to you. So when my tier was open, basically we had to book an appointment. And it's crazy. You don't go to a clinic or anything. So I got it at this gigantic, it's a rec center. So there's a pool, there's a this, there's a that, big field.
Center. Wow.
Yeah, a big field with a bunch of tents. On the other side of the field, they're doing COVID testing to see if you're positive or negative. On this side of the field, they're handing out vaccinations. So it was crazy. So the line goes round the block, and you kind of wait, and then you hope like a hot paramedic will come give you a jab. And that's just basically how it goes. You just stand in line, you get there. They ask you a few screening questions like, have you had any reactions to any vaccines before, and are you allergic to any of the ingredients in the vaccine? They give you that, they give you pretty much a list of what you might react to before you make the appointment. And then after that, they basically just jab you. They jab you in your arm and you wait. They ask you to move to another area of the field where you wait for another 15 minutes just to see if you have any adverse reactions. And then after that, you're free to go. So
did it hurt?
It wasn't long, but
did it hurt? Did you get a dead arm?
It did. Yes. So a lot of my friends who did get the vaccine, some of them had reactions. For example, one of them, apparently her arm hurt so much that she couldn't sleep that night. Wow. And she had the chills and she had nausea. A couple of my other friends, though, they had no reaction at all. Me, it was sore for a couple of days, but I don't think it's any more sore than if you got any other sort of jab. So it was sore, but it was nothing unbearable. I didn't have any reactions that I can remember even. So I probably, if I did, it's probably not that, significant. Didn't get the chills.
We talked about this before, and we were just saying, like, when you go get a tetanus jab, let's say you cut yourself and it was rusty, whatever, you go get a tetanus jab, that hurts as well. Yeah. I mean, like, you get dead arm.
Actually, I've been having glutathione shots for injury healing, right? And let me tell you, that hurts so badly. You have that in your bum and you can't sit down.
Right.
So, that pain is not an indication that there's anything wrong with what's going in you. It's just a foreign gloop that needs to find its way, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I can tell you the BCG jabs that we get when we're 12 years old, that hurt a lot more.
Oh, okay. That's a good frame of reference,
Actually, you know
actually.
what?
Yes.
For you guys, when you got a BCG jab back in the day, did you have any adverse reactions to that? Did it take for a while for it to heal up?
I don't
I
know.
mean, it took for me, it took forever because the BCG jab, you know, it bursts, right? And then there's a
Yeah,
hole in your arm for the longest time, and then it
correct.
takes
I got
forever
that
for
as
that
well.
whole,
Yeah.
yeah.
But some people
So
just healed up like nothing. So it's the same thing. You know what I
it's
mean?
less than that. It's
Yeah.
100% less than that. It's I mean, like I got the jab on Friday. It is now Sunday evening over here, and I'm back. It doesn't hurt, nothing. At the
So
most, I think on Saturday, it hurt like somebody, like a bruise. So if somebody were to bang up against me, I probably would have yelled. But that's about it.
right. So the sort of scaling on your skin, the blue colored scaling is just natural. It's what you were before.
Sorry, come again? The scaling? Yes, 100%. That's all me. That's my mermaid tail. What are you talking about?
Good. Glad we clear that up. So I just didn't want anyone who was watching this to sort of be offended or scared. You know, it's not the vaccine.
It's just my mermaid tail.
Yeah. So okay. So you know, for those who are skeptical or sort of wary about getting the vaccine, and you having sort of friends who have had it open to them, because right now it's speculation for those countries that don't have it open to them, but for those around you in the discussions of to have or not to have, what's been a deciding factor of maybe people sort of jumping over to the other side of going, you know what, I'm going to go get it?
Personal experience with the friends of mine who've been on the fence, leaning more towards not getting it and then deciding, hey, maybe I'm going to. It really is everybody else around me getting it? Because it seems to be like, you know, if everybody else around me is getting it, maybe I should get it. Maybe it is safe, you know, especially if these are people, you know, I care about, I respect, so I've had a couple of friends who were like, when the discussion of the vaccine was coming up, they were like, oh no, I don't even get the flu shot. I'm not going to get this. And then now, because, you know, like I said, like we know a few doctors who've scrambled trying to get an appointment to get it. That seems to have been a deciding factor. I think a lot of it also has to do with not so much getting it for themselves, but protecting the people in their household. Like a lot of my friends, some of them who have had the opportunity to get it, it wasn't so much about them being worried about getting COVID themselves, but they live with elderly parents, for example, who at the moment maybe are not, you know, they don't have that opportunity right now. That tier hasn't been opened up yet. So they want to get it so that, because they're going out to work every day, they're going grocery shopping, they don't want that to bring something home to their parents. Because a lot of you know, a lot of people have it and they don't have any symptoms, and you don't really know if you have it until you get a symptom and you go get tested.
Have you had a test? Did you ever get tested?
I've had a test. I couple of weeks ago, I had the sniffles, and then I had a scratchy throat, and I was like, oh no. Totally wigged out, totally freaked out. So I went to get the test. Nothing. It's just the flu. I had the sniffles, I had a cold, and then after that, you know, like the flu, it goes away in like a week or so, and I was fine. But I also have had a friend, no symptoms whatsoever, just went to get tested for her work because they required them to get tested every so often, came back positive. She had no symptoms whatsoever, no cough, didn't feel anything, but she came back with a positive test. So it was, you know, stuff like that is scary. And she lives with her elderly parents, you know, that kind of thing. So she wants to get it because of that, like the fact that she didn't have any symptoms, but she was carrying it. She was going around home like nothing, right? Yeah. So stuff like that is what I think makes them decide to get it or not.
Generally in the States right now, when you talk to people that you know who don't want to get the vaccine, what is the one thing that makes them go, oh, I don't know? Is it because of what they don't know about it? Or is it because of what they keep hearing about all this fake news online where people they didn't make it?
I've had conversations with people who really buy into the conspiracy theory. that nanobots are being injected into you. I've had conversations with that, and when they talk to you, you wonder, because they're very convincing and they throw out these facts and you kind of want to go, I don't know, I feel like I need to Google this or something, because they're very convincing, because they are convinced themselves, right? There's nothing like selling something that you 100% have already bought.
Yeah.
So I've had conversations with people like that, but for the most part, it is the fact that it is a new vaccine. It's something new. It's that. And I think that stems from, just the fear that surrounds COVID. Like, it's unknown. We don't understand the virus really, for the most part. It keeps mutating and all this fancy stuff. So they're not, they worry that the vaccine is too new, that it hasn't been tested enough, that it might not work, that it might give you COVID. It's worries like that. It's worries of the unknown. That's what is the fear.
Okay, so let me ask you, I mean, you mentioned this earlier, but in a way, this COVID vaccine is just a variant flu shot of a very nasty flu virus, right?
I don't know. Is it? I have no idea.
I'm saying it's
an mRNA. Yeah, because basically it's an mRNA. There's no live virus in this at all.
But a lot
of people, basically just a flu shot.
Yeah, it's a flu shot. Basically, it's a flu shot for a more nasty version of the flu than the nasty flu. So if real, because people always go, oh, I've got the flu. They really haven't. They've just got a cold, right? Because influenza is horrible, and it is,
people use the term flu very lightly.
Yes,
everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is sort of, if we were to look at it as another flu shot for a different kind of flu, and a flu family, that's not the right word, but family. What's your advice then for people contemplating taking the vaccine? If you could say.
I personally would say, I mean, like, I can only talk from where I stand, right? I am very much of the mindset of, we're all not experts in everything, right? There are certain things that I know a lot about that somebody else doesn't know, and vice versa. I am going to trust, and maybe this is because, when I say things like this over here in the States, it's like, oh no, you're just buying into the propaganda and da-da-da. But I'm going to trust the people who know more about something, that they know what they're doing, that they know what they're talking about, I would say to you, don't buy a house from, the guy who sells chassis bao down the road. Don't take real estate advice from him. Don't do it, So in the same vein, I'm not going to take advice from somebody who doesn't do medicine for a living, and if the people who, like I said, I consider 100 times smarter than me, who've gone to school, who, studied medicine for 10 years, for a decade or more, are comfortable with going ahead and taking the shot and everything, that, it sounds like, I'm being a bit of a lemming, but I'm going to trust that they know more than I do in the same way that these people, don't go ask them, again, same thing. Don't go ask them for advice on buying a house. They may be very smart when it comes to medicine, would probably end up having you lose your entire life savings if you went to them for, home ownership advice. So that is what my advice would be. Like, it would have been different, I think, if the people, like I said, the doctors that I knew weren't getting it, despite of everything that's being said out there about getting the vaccine and the pros and this and that. If all of them were hesitant, maybe I'd be a bit more hesitant, because it's one thing to read about something and then another thing to know people, in the same field who are a bit hesitant. But because they weren't, and was it the right decision or not? I don't know. I know I feel a lot more comfortable. I am no longer having those dark thoughts spiraling down the rabbit hole of, oh my goodness, what happens, what if, and it sounds really selfish. I'm also really ready for this to be over. I'm done.
Yeah.
So can I just ask, just last couple of things. When do you go back for your second shot?
Yeah.
Do you have a second shot? And is this stamped in your passport, or do you have a document that you can now carry
you got a
with
vaccine
you?
card or something?
Yeah, vaccine cards. Like, yeah.
They gave us a card, but that was sort of like a doctor reminder card of when your second shot is. So the vaccine that I got was the Moderna vaccine. So the booster shot is, for me, it's on February 12th. So that's about 4 weeks. And I think the other
Chinese
one,
New Year.
Wow. Ongs
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if I show it to me.
Ow! Right, yeah.
And Valentine's Day too.
Yeah.
And Valentine's Day, exactly.
Wow, double on.
Yeah. Actually, on that, now that you've gotten the first jab, do you feel more confident? How do you feel? I mean, like, do you walk around like, I'm invincible?
Not really, but I don't feel like I'm invincible because I still wear the masks and everything, right? I'm still careful, but I don't know whether that is just now conditioning almost. Yeah. That's also a very bad word here in the United States, conditioning. But I do feel a little bit more relaxed, if that makes any sort of sense. You know, I still do the hand sanitizer, I still wash my hands, you know, on a regular basis and stuff. But it's maybe it's a psychological thing. I just feel a little bit calmer than I did before. Because again, like they said, you know, you won't get the COVID virus. It won't affect you that badly if you're young and you don't have any underlying symptoms. I've got a friend who's 25 years old who caught it, and he's coughing and spluttering, and I'm really worried about him. And he's 25, and you know, LA health freak, vegan, eats kale, all that good stuff, exercises like 5 days a week and all that. Yeah. He caught it and he's out for the count. He's coughing and spluttering, and I'm really worried about him. So, you know, you see things like that, it makes you scared. And I suppose, you know, the vaccines made me calm down a little bit.
So basically, you know, yes, get the vaccine, but still follow SOPs and stay safe.
Yeah, because I think because what they told me when I got the vaccine as well, I mean, they didn't under any circumstance say, well, now you can go and lick the surfaces of all the tables now. They didn't.
Other things to get besides COVID, so I wouldn't tell anyone to lick tabletops in public spaces.
Like, I'm free of COVID. Cholera.
And on that note, yeah. But you know, they still tell you to be cautious and stuff. So
is there any documentation?
Sorry?
I was just going to ask if there was any documentation, because I think I heard a rumor that some of the countries were going to put it in the passport so that if you were to travel, like you've got it, there is documentation that you've had this.
Oh.
Well, they didn't give me anything. I mean, the only thing, and in saying that, I have just gotten the first shot. So whether I get something when they give me the booster shot, I don't know, because technically I think I haven't gotten the shot like completely, right? So but for the most part, no, they checked my health insurance. That's the only thing they ran. If they have my information stored somewhere on some, you know, hard drive somewhere with regards to whether I got the shot or not, maybe. But they didn't give me anything other than a little card that says booster shot is due February 12th. That's the only thing they gave me.